Class of 2020 rankings, Rivals 250, State, Position, Team. Pro Football Focus is an invaluable resource to dive deeper into statistics when thinking about college football and the NFL Draft. Here is a breakdown of 5 defensive tackle storylines heading into next season, what the numbers could mean down the road, and a take from Rivals.com National Recruiting Director Mike Farrell. Related, big quarterback questions, RB, WR, TOL, AAP overview. Wilson is not at the top of the Florida State season stats, but according to Pro Football Focus he graded out as one of the top 11 defensive tackles nationally last season, and here are some names ahead of him: Quinnen Williams, Ed Oliver, Christian Wilkins, Jeffrey Simmons, Jerry Tillery and Draymond Jones. With all those players headed to the NFL Draft, Wilson has a chance next season to really live up to his billing as not only a 5-star prospect but also the No. 2 overall recruit in the 2017 class. Wilson had 23 quarterback carries this past season, just as many as Simmons and 3 more than Oliver. He had 8 hits on quarterbacks, 1 more than Tillery and Simmons and 5 more than Oliver. Although many people aren't talking about Wilson dominating at defensive tackle yet, that might change soon. Farrell's take: Wilson gets overlooked a bit because Florida State was so bad last season and expectations were so high for him coming out of high school. At one point our number 1 overall prospect in 2017, Wilson has a great work ethic and motor with tremendous skills and technique. With so many elite defensive tackles out of college football, Wilson will step up as one of the top 4 or 5 in the country for the Seminoles. RobinCon/AuburnSports.com overview: Brown graded out in the top 12 according to Pro Football Focus, and he had some impressive numbers at Auburn this past season: 5 sacks, 6 hits on quarterbacks and 17 quarterback hurries. Did he make the wisest decision possible by coming back for another season, letting this deep defensive line group get drafted and waiting his turn following his senior year? Brown is fantastic and might have vied for a first-round grade, but Nick Bosa, Josh Allen, Williams, Rashawn Gary, Simmons, Montez Sweat, Oliver, Brian Burns and a host of Clemson players were probably going to get drafted ahead of him on the defensive line. Some of those players are edge rushers, and Brown is a massive defensive tackle, but will coming back for one more season of domination in the SEC serve him best? Farrell's take: if he stays healthy it's a great decision. I really like Brown as a college player and NFL prospect, and another year learning under the excellent coaches at Auburn will make him even better. Brown has a load in the middle and now needs to work on becoming a better gap shooter and pass rusher, and if he takes that next step he could be one of the top 2 or 3 defensive tackles in the NFL Draft when it's his turn. Overview: after scanning the top list of players for quarterback carries, Davis had just as many last season as Williams, who should be one of the top overall picks in the NFL Draft. Analysts are raving about Williams' disruptive ability, his aggressive and relentless pursuit and his career at Alabama as reasons why he will be so highly drafted next month. Will Davis get the same treatment after next season when he heads to the NFL Draft? The bet would probably be no, because while Davis had 29 quarterback carries, the 6'7", 309-pounder had only 2 sacks this past season, and he hit the quarterback only 5 times, playing 725 snaps. To his credit, Williams played 78 fewer snaps than Davis this past season, but totaled 10 more sacks and 11 more hits. For Davis's draft stock to rise, his production might have to go up next season, too. Farrell's take: I am not sure on this one. Davis is an excellent talent, but he didn't take that next step of development last year as expected, so he needs to have a big season. It's hard for such a tall player to play with natural leverage, and he needs to lower his pad level a bit and add some burst in pursuit. If he can do those things, and be more consistent, he will be a very intriguing prospect for the NFL, but I'm not sold yet. AP overview: maybe lost in the shuffle of all the big-time defensive linemen across the SEC, Big Ten and the ACC is Johnson, who had just as many sacks as Williams. and Jones' last season 10 total, tied for the nation's lead, and the Colorado defensive lineman added 8 hits on quarterbacks and 32 hurries, good for 4th nationally. What's even more impressive is that the JUCO transfer for the Buffaloes, who picked Colorado over Oregon State and Kansas, did all that work playing only 690 snaps. 23 defensive tackles played more. Farrell Stick Johnson is a terrific player who can rush the passer, which is what the NFL loves from big men who can also play on the interior of the defensive line. Will he dominate next season? That might be going a bit far, and I bet he flies under the radar a bit nationally because he's not at a power program. But the NFL doesn't miss much and will certainly pay attention. Johnson is one of the best-kept secrets in college football. Overview: Texas A. A first-round pick for the Aggies could be coming after next season though if Madubuike continues to deliver like he did this past season with 8 sacks, 11 hits on quarterbacks and 25 quarterback hurries. His sacks tied him for 4th nationally on Pro Football Focus even though he was number 37 in terms of snaps played with 652. With so many elite players heading to the draft this year, is Madubuike next in line in the SEC? Farrell Stick Madubuike gets overlooked a bit in the SEC and nationally as a great defensive lineman, but he has so many tools and skills he won't be ignored for long. He can play the run and get after the quarterback and has excellent athleticism. He's one of the keys to the Texas A.